Hey y'all, welcome back to Chasing Dreams Homestead. This morning we got a special guest, Mr. Kendrick. He's going to come down and treat a section of our field that we're going to put our cover crop on. He's providing a service that's completely organic, and I'm going to allow Kendrick to introduce himself and let you guys know what his products are and how he applies them. Go ahead, brother.
Hello, thank you. I'm Kendrick Layman, and I am working with some natural products, as Chase just said. And the first thing we're doing is we're getting a seed treatment ready. That is a compost extract. We just mixed it up. I'm going to put it in the bottles so we can have it ready to go. And then the second thing we're doing is a bokashi effluent, which is going to have facultative microbes that are, we're going to spray that on the field, and that will go ahead and start loosening up the soil. We've got this heavy clay around here. We need to get some air down in it, and so we'll be spraying that, and then we'll be treating the seeds for the cover crop, and that cover crop is going to fix the soil as well. So that's the plan for today. We'll go from there.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to shoot a section of the field before he treats it, and then we'll shoot an update in about 2 weeks, and then another one in a month, and let you see how things are doing. What we're putting out is cold hardy cover crop. We're going to allow that to grow. We're going to have that section closed off away from the livestock, and once that gets really established, probably December, maybe early January, I'll turn the livestock loose on it, and they'll have a virtual buffet for a while. It's going to be a lot of food for them. We're putting out a brassica blend and some winter rye. I really prefer rye over wheat because rye gives you a lot more organic matter. It's a lot more cold hardy than the wheat as well. And as you just heard when Kendrick was talking about his product, he's geeking out on this stuff, and I love it. I love it when people are that passionate about it that they know the science. So I don't even know what the word was that you used about loosening up the clay, but it sounded pretty smart to me. What was that word again?
So there's a facultative microbe. It allows it to, those particular microbes are lactobacillus. Okay. They can, you might have heard of lactobacillus if you ever
same thing I do when I ferment food.
A probiotic for fermenting food. Yeah. It's the same thing, but this is more of a broad spectrum, and we're not being, it's not food grade. Okay. But what a facultative microbe will do is it can go from the air, aerobic, to anaerobic, no air.
Okay.
And your clay soil doesn't have any air in it.
Right.
And so what it's doing is it's going down in there, and it's going to loosen up that soil and allow you to get some air in there, allow your roots to penetrate better, and allow you to build more organic matter.
Come a little closer so the folks can hear him real well over the neighbors barking shih tzus. I apologize, y'all. If you haven't heard everything he said, I think you can hear him. But if you haven't heard everything he said, he's on Facebook. You can find him on there. And he'll also be posting updates in the group about his products and services. Right now, you're operating out of a backpack sprayer. He has goals to improve and get to a larger, scale of things. Mm-hmm. It takes time when you're building a company from the ground up. I always want to support entrepreneurs. He reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do this, and I was like, dude, what is it? Because I don't want to put anything that's bad on our land, and it's all organic. So I'm excited about that. But we'll shoot you guys some film of him down there spraying and getting everything going in just a minute. So y'all stay tuned. All right, y'all. Kendrick's going to do a seed treatment also before we start to spread and broadcast this seed, but I'm going to let him tell you guys all about his process here.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit of why we do a seed treatment before I get into how the process actually works. Plants in the soil have a relationship with microbial life. You have bacteria and fungi and yeast and various things in the soil that are breaking down the minerals and feeding those to the plants. And the plants in turn, if they're photosynthesizing correctly, feed them back root exudates and lipids and things like that. So when your little seed in here is getting started, it needs to develop a relationship with those microbes at the very beginning. And if your soil is struggling as it is, it's going to have a hard time doing that, and it's not going to be very healthy. So if I spray this compost extract, which is from decomposed plants, and so it has all those bacteria and fungi that are there present, if I treat it with this, now when that little root sticks out of that seed after it germinates, it's going to develop a relationship immediately with those bacteria. I just recently did a seed treatment for brother-in-law on his lawn, and I think it's been about 3 weeks, and that stuff is popping up probably 6-8 inches with no fertilizer.
Wow.
No fertilizer at all, just the seed treatment. Because if the bacteria and fungi are present, they can get the minerals they need from their soil. And that's really what I'm about, is I'm trying to heal people's soil, help people have nice yards, nice fields, be able to grow food for their families, I do want to do this as a business. I need to make a living, feed my family, but
Amen.
my primary thing is to help people do what they're doing and do it better. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this seed and we're going to dump a little bit into a bucket here. And then we're going to take this, and I have it set on a nice fine mist, and we're just going to spray a little bit. We just want it to feel a little bit wet, and then we're going to mix it in. We're going to mix it in like that, and then we're going to spray it again. Just coat that top layer. We're going to mix it in, and that's plenty. We don't want to make it wet because then it'll clump in the cedar. We want it to just coat the seed, and then we'll let it soak in a little bit. And once it's soaked in, then it'll be ready to spread. And that way, we will have good, healthy germination. There we go. It's a fairly simple process. It's just a quality compost extract, and the better your compost extract is, the better your seed treatment is going to be, and also your process is with mixing your compost extract. You want to make sure you're keeping those microbes alive and not killing them in the process. That's all there is to it.
Awesome, man. So, brother, what's your background? Do you have a degree in this, or is this something you've just studied at length? Because you clearly know what you're talking about.
So, about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, my wife and I got married, and I had just bought a little place in town, and we had a little garden. And I was like, I really want to know how to grow food, but I don't want to go to the store and have to buy a bunch of fertilizer. Because stuff's been growing for a long time before we came up with all these fertilizers. How does it actually work? A friend of mine turned me on to a fellow by David the Good on YouTube. I looked into a bunch of his stuff, got some of his books, and really started reading a lot about this and realized there's a whole world of plant health, soil health, the work of Dr. Elaine Ingham. She does a lot of stuff with compost. There's a whole bunch of different stuff out there, and you start pulling some of this stuff together, and it's kind of, last few years, kind of started to make sense. And so I was doing it for myself, and I figured I could do this for other people as well. So yeah, I just read constantly, watch videos on YouTube all the time. So no degree. I figure you can learn without going to college.
Amen.
Take a little bit more work, but that's my approach. I'd rather do it with hands-on approach and learning from people who are actually doing it, rather than going to school. So that's how I've learned about all this. I've always been interested in soil health. My grandfather was a dairy farmer. My dad went off the farm because of some health issues, but I've always wanted to get back into farming. And so at one point I would have actually sold a biological product. So similar to this being a biological product. I actually sold that for a little bit, but it was extremely expensive. And while it worked, and it was worth the money, as far as yield increase, from what I could tell, I was a believer in the product, but it's really hard for a farmer who's broke to spend a ridiculous amount of money and they don't know if it's going to work. And so I'm more about education, doing this on a kind of blue collar type approach, something that everyone can afford. That's really what I'm looking for, is making this affordable.
Hey man, amen to that. I'm telling you what, dude, I've known lots of local farmers who have skimped on their fertilizer this year because of the cost due to inflation. So yes.
And this is not, a lot of what is called fertilizer is not really a fertilizer.
Right. It kills the soil health.
So fertility is life. You're talking about killing the soil.
Yeah.
It is life. Fertility is reproduction. It's life. And a lot of these fertilizers, it's not that they're poisonous in and of themselves. It's too much of a good thing. And Joel Salatin has talked about it burning the outer layer of a earthworm. I don't know if you've ever handled an earthworm for very long. If you handle that thing very long, that mucus layer on the outside of that earthworm will wear off. And that's its immune system. And you'll die. So you're just hitting them with a little bit too much of a good thing. It burns that mucus layer off of the earthworm and kills it. And those earthworms are what are keeping your soil aerated, and they have relationships with a lot of the bacteria in your soil. It's doing the same thing to those bacteria. It's
Absolutely.
going to kill them off. And so I'm not going to try to criminalize anyone that uses conventional fertilizers.
Right.
But there are some things to take into consideration. It's not really a fertilizer. It's an amendment. You're adding back some nitrogen, some phosphorus, some potassium, and maybe some other things as well. What I'm dealing with is more of a biological. It is alive. These things are actually alive. I am treating them maybe a little bit like livestock. I feed them, I culture them, and I reproduce them, breed them, and try to get them to large quantities and make them healthy, and then I'm applying them back to the soil. And so it actually is true fertility. It is the thing that reproduces in the soil and gives it life. So it's actually a fertilizer.
Absolutely, brother. Every time I'm digging in the dirt, if I see worms, I know it's good dirt.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll let you get back to it. I just wanted to stop him for a minute and let him talk about this seed treatment for you guys. I think it's pretty cool stuff he's doing out here. We're excited to have him out here. All right, y'all, so I'm just going to show you the area that he is treating. As you can see, because of the drought, a lot of the grass died back. And then, of course, we had Harriet the horse in here, so she ate the grass down very, very close to the ground. So there's nothing really growing in here. There were some weeds that were trying to pop up, but that frost knocked that out. I thought I was going to have to mow them back because I didn't want them to compete with what I was seeding, but the frost really knocked things down. And as you can see, the method he's using is very minimally invasive. It's only his footprints, really. He's not going to tear up the soil doing it. It's not some large-scale equipment that's going to rut it up. He's just walking around with a backpack sprayer and treating the ground. And we'll give you guys an update once all this has time to take root and show you how fast it springs up. All right, y'all, so Kendrick is done spraying his teas and compost treatment on the soil. Now I've got to go spread seed so that it can take root. Hopefully we get some rain, y'all. Do your rain dance for me so that it'll help the seed germinate quicker. But we appreciate what he did for us. And guys, I've talked to him, and he's going to come out to the spring event and give a workshop on how you can improve your soil naturally too. So that's pretty awesome. Stay tuned for that and more information. And in the bio, in the description, we will give you his contact information as well as further information on the products that he offers. Till next time, y'all, keep dreaming.